Let's take a look at some of those highlights in this really, really exciting encounter and what stood out. Very, very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is obviously sort of more in the first half. I think with the width, you got Salim Al-Dawsari there, just giving the width, and unfortunately, the ball gets turned over, and this is where Real Madrid sort of got off the mark. Weren't really in the game up until this point. I mean, this is after the water break. Clearly, something was said because you could see the injection of pace on the counter attack. Lovely little ball, rotated, circulated out wide, and then back into the box again. And Gonzalo gets a wonderful, wonderful finish. I say wonderful because it is a double touch, and sometimes the imperfect finish is the perfect finish in that situation. I mean, we saw Bono's quality. You can imagine if he gets better contact, perhaps Bono saves it, but that awkward sort of double touch puts Bono in a difficult position to sort of try and readjust and get a hand on it.
That's really creating your own luck, isn't it? You must kick the ball, but it still goes past the goalkeeper, and that's his first senior goal for the club as well, and what a way to get it.
What a way to get it. And strangely enough, it was Hilal that had the momentum.
And then turnover possession in the final third, obviously, but yet Real Madrid, and again, you say that's the way you want to counter-attack, with speed, with precision passing, and then obviously in numbers. And that's what Madrid had in that final third.
Yeah, well, that opening goal, it was then Madrid that had the momentum. And then, of course, mistakes, minimizing mistakes, so important.
It is so important. I mean, look, to be fair, Hilal were fantastic. I mean, they're secured in possession, and the one time lapse of concentration, concede a goal. And on the other side, again, a different way to sort of lose your concentration, a little bit lazy in terms of just getting goal side, getting it way too handsy in the box, and you sort of can't ask the referee to sort of bail you out in that situation. That's a penalty all day.
That for me, the word you just used there was perfect. It was lazy defending, because there's enough players to actually help you out and to recover, and yet he opted for the decision to give the foul away, and unfortunately probably cost him the game as well, as far as the win is concerned. But end of the day, it just sums up in some way also Real Madrid's day on the field, to be honest. Nothing was going for them.
Now, can we talk about how that ball was dispatched?
Fantastic. I mean, that's an incisive penalty. Really decisive in terms of just getting a foot on it, pick your corner, trust it, trust your technique, and don't worry about what the goalkeeper's going to do. I mean, that's fantastic. A lot of penalty takers. I mean, I haven't taken many or any, but I would imagine Sean would agree, a lot of the time players just concentrate on contact. Get good contact either side, and 9 times out of 10 you'll get the goal you need.
Speed and height is important, and that was exactly what he did, Ruben. And it's a great height, opposite side obviously of Courtois, but the power behind it, there's no way he would have gotten to that ball.
What the numbers told us, of course, going into the break at halftime, is that this was a very, very close match, right? It was an encounter of margins. Second half, coming out, both teams had all to play for. And it seemed in those opening exchanges, it was all about Madrid.
Yeah, I think the first 15-20 minutes, it was them piling on the pressure on Hilal. Numerous attacks, final third entries, balls falling to them, coming back again, headers being put in, goalkeeper saving it off the line. So it was endless, attacks from Real Madrid, but Hilal were quite resilient in their defense.
Yeah, and most stand out, Bono.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. Spent many years in Spain, so he'd be very familiar with Real Madrid. Would have come up against them many times, and he looked pretty ready for this game. But that leap by Garcia is truly spectacular. I mean, Koulibaly is not the smallest of guys. I mean, truly massive, those two centre backs, but he still manages to get a head on it. Really unlucky not to score.
Yeah, I think his presence today obviously shows that he wants to be in that first team, and I think it's important for him to put on that marker. I think we even saw he got the superior player of the match today. So he put in a good performance and made himself, felt present in most of the positions he found himself, and I think that was good for him.
Yeah, as the game ensued, it started to slow down a little bit. Perhaps, again, the weather conditions starting to show.
Yeah, there was a moment where there was a little bit sort of off the pace. I think Real Madrid would have pinned back Hilal for a lot at the beginning of the second half, but this is where they got a little bit of joy, got out a little bit, and tried to sort of threaten Real Madrid goal. Ultimately, though, it must be said, Real Madrid really managed to sort of turn up the pace. I mean, that's a good chance, that's a good opportunity. I think Leonardo just snatches at it a little bit. I mean, as the ball falls to him there, of course, I mean, he's had to sort of swivel and try and get his foot around the ball, which is always difficult if you look at the angle, but a player that scored that amount of goals, you expect him to at least sort of make the goalkeeper work or at least hit the target.
Yeah, it's half a chance that obviously you want to make sure you hit the target at least. And unfortunately for him, probably didn't know exactly where the goal was, but because he was turning and so sort of just lose sight of the goalpost.
Yeah, an encounter that was well worth it for all of the fans that turned out to watch this one, because both teams just giving it their all, even towards the end. We didn't even mind the the added time because it was entertaining and really changed sides of the pitch in terms of the team that had the upper hand.
Surely, yes, it did. And I think what's encouraging, for Al Hilal is in terms of just they looked secured even in defense, even under immense pressure. There wasn't panic. There wasn't any sort of, we might lose the game. What's going on? They stayed in the game, even at 1-1, gave themselves a chance to sort of perhaps go on the counter and maybe get a goal via set piece or whatever it is. But for Real Madrid, just kept on knocking on that door. I think when Gula came on, wonderful. Added that energy, added a little bit of sort of technical ability around the box, great feet, but they still just couldn't unlock that defense and beat Bono.
Yeah, and then obviously the controversial moment in the final stages, with Madrid getting the penalty awarded. Took a bit of time, obviously, for the referee to make a decision. Was it accidental? Was it dangerous play? And it was in the 18-yard area. I didn't think it was a foul, but the minute you ask the referee to go have a look at the footage, there's a high percentage of this foul being awarded as a penalty. And they got it. Not the best of penalties, in my opinion.
Yeah. And to be fair, Sean said, when you watch it, anywhere else on the pitch, that's a foul. Referees give it. I mean, a hand to the face nowadays is just about a yellow card. So, little surprised, obviously, the referee has let it go. But a second look, clear penalty. And unfortunately for that man there, Valverde, wonderful technique. He has a wonderful technique, but he just does not find the corner.
And very different to the Ruben Neves penalty. He opted to go low, which I find for a goalkeeper is quite comfortable to go and reach for. Anything higher than waist height could have been a lot more difficult. So in some way it made it easy. And even, I'm not sure if he knew before, but Bono, he almost moved way before Valverde actually took the penalty.
So, very heated ending to this particular matchup, but it throws a spanner in the works. So it makes things even more exciting here, because Real Madrid, obviously, if you look at the silverware that they have in this competition, most decorated at the FIFA Club World Cup, but just opens things up as well in this group. When you look at just how competitive this matchup was.
It really does, and obviously this is a debut for both coaches. So, the tactics, call them blind, it was obviously first game for both coaches, but we're thoroughly entertained, open and expansive football. In contest, 12% shows there's some combat, there's some 50-50s in there, so well contested, a good fight on both teams.
Yeah, I think obviously the second half Madrid came back into it, but the first half it was all about Al Hilal and what they did in that first half. And I think the second half Madrid probably felt a little bit more physically. The heat and everything, the latter part of the game.
All right. What were you saying on the socials? Hashtag SS Football. There was a question that was posed ahead of kickoff for this clash. So let's find out now as we touch base with the social corner.
Ooh, well, you can imagine that Real Madrid fans are not happy with that performance. But what we are actually seeing a lot of is people asking, was Cristiano Ronaldo right when he was speaking about the Saudi League and how we seem to underestimate them?
Well, I think this game just proves that teams from the Saudi League cannot be underestimated. And Ronaldo was in fact right. But one thing that we weren't really right about was who was going to stand out today. And Bono actually was the player on most people's mouths right now on the socials. He's the player that should have been the superior player of the match, according to a lot of people. Not very happy with Real Madrid's performance at all.
No.
A lot of people are laughing at them. So if there are any Madrid fans at home, stay off social media.
I think
you don't want to see what they say.
Successful hate watch for some, but I will say that people were thoroughly entertained. There was a tweet here that said, "Wow, what a game. Al Hilal really did not deserve to lose the game. I'm happy Bono saved that soft penalty awarded to Madrid." So also a lot of back and forth around the penalty on Madrid, but you know how it goes, eh?
Hate watching. And we were talking about Trent as the player to watch, and we asked you guys if his defensive ability would be better now at Madrid. And he wasn't really on anyone's mouth at all.
No, not at all. I think everyone was really focused on Al Hilal. Like, they showed up and they were like, where's Real Madrid? And that's actually a really big talking point. They're talking about the fact that a lot of the European teams are not doing as well as people would have thought.
Yeah, I saw a comment from someone saying that European teams are overrated. Is that
overrated?
Because maybe they're coming to the end of their season.
That's what I was just going to say.
And it is a tough task,
guys
but they are a bit underwhelming, a lot of the teams.
Real Madrid was underwhelming to a lot of people today, which is obviously very unfortunate.
One thing I do want to mention, which is from Liverpool fans, who I hate watching Trent like you cannot believe.
Yeah.
There's someone who made a list of every single mistake Trent made in this game.
No, guys.
Like from just not marking a man to misplacing a pass. Like they went
like in the notes app, they have it there. Okay, that's when you know it's serious. When you add into the notes app, like they take their hate watching very seriously. But for a neutral, that was a very, very entertaining game.
Definitely.
No, it really was. And in fact, both matches so far in Group G as well as H, extremely, extremely entertaining, very, very competitive. How is it going to fare for the other two matches to follow in these groups, just rounding up day one, or rather match day one, for all of the teams in the groups at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup? Well, after the break, we're going to just touch base on the remaining encounters for technically today.